Good morning. Another first impression review for you today. I recently picked up the Saucony Shift 3 as part of a buy one get one 50% off. The other shoe that I purchased as part of that was the Asics Magic Speed 2. So I know with the Magic Speed, a lot of people didn't really like the first model. They made a lot of changes to the second model. This now has the Flight Foam Blast Plus foam, which is the same foam that's in the Nova Blast. So it's a little bit more of a bouncier foam. I've done one run in these shoes so far, so this is going to be my second run. So I wanted to give them a little bit more mileage before starting this review. These shoes have a dual density midsole, a carbon fiber plate. They're lightweight. They have a nice thin upper. I really like the fit of this upper, and I really like the colorway that I got. Not that that's the most important thing, but I think these are a really nice looking shoe as well. These shoes kind of fall into the category of a tempo trainer, you know, a lightweight shoe that you can take for your faster training runs, and also somewhat of a budget racer. This shoe new is $150. I got them for less than $100. I think Running Warehouse has them now for around like $75. I'll double check that when I get home. But this could be a inexpensive choice for someone who's looking for a carbon plated race shoe, who doesn't want to spend $250 on one of the latest and greatest from the big brands. However, there are a lot of discounts on the previous models race shoes. These ones don't have the same stack or stability that I would want for a marathon, but I think they would be very good for 5K, 10K, maybe up to a half marathon. But these do have a kind of a narrow midfoot and heel, so I probably wouldn't want to take them for that long of a race. But for like sessions, shorter races, I think these is where these would really shine. So let's take them for a run and see how they do. So I just finished a 25-minute warm-up, ended up covering just under 3 miles, about 8:30 pace. So I was taking it easy. These shoes for easy pace actually feel pretty good. They are smooth transitions, a nice rocker in this shoe. It really encourages you to land on your midfoot and roll to the toe, and has a nice toe off with that plate in there. So you can definitely handle these for an easy run, but these are ones similar to like the Puma Deviate Elite 1 or the Takumi Sen, where the shoe is light and fast and doesn't really want to go those easy speeds. It's kind of encouraging you turn it up a gear, so you can really feel that this is a speed shoe. You could use this for daily runs, but I don't think you need to. I mean, I'd use a regular daily trainer for that. However, these do have really good grip. It's a comfortable upper, it's a breathable upper. They feel really good at that lower pace, but again, they feel like they want to turn up the pace a bit. So about to do some intervals now and see how they do at that higher speed. Something else that's I should mention, these have the Flight Foam Blast. Oh my God. They make these things so difficult to say sometimes. The Flight Foam Blast Plus foam. I had to read it off the shoe there to make sure I didn't screw it up, which is the same one that they put in the Nova Blast 3, which is a very, very bouncy shoe. This does not feel like the foam in a Nova Blast. Remember, it is a 2-layer foam, so there is a firmer foam in there as well, so it has a little bit of bounce, but it definitely doesn't feel as bouncy, not as much energy return as like Saucony Power Run PB or Zoom X. So it's not that really responsive racing foam, but it does give me a nice little squish. It kind of reminds me more of Adidas's foam that they put in their racing shoes. It has a little bit of that sink in and then bounce back, but it's kind of more responsive and firm than some of those bouncier foams. Something else that I should mention, since these have a narrow midfoot and heel, I experience a little bit of what I do in narrow shoes like the Vaporfly, where if you look closely at my right ankle as I'm walking here, the shoe just kind of wants to turn in. So this is one where if you are a overpronator, you may have some difficulty with this shoe. I find when I'm running fast and running up on my toes, it doesn't really bother me at all, similar to the Vaporfly. But with this, when I'm just walking or running slower paces, I do find myself kind of turning that right ankle in a little bit more because of the instability in the heel. Now, this has not bothered me at all in running in the shoe, but that would make me hesitant to take these out for like a half marathon or something where I'm going to be putting a lot of miles into it in one go. So now I'm up to the speed part of this run, so we'll see how these do at picking up the pace. So I'm in the middle of my intervals right now, and these ones, really the foam kind of wakes up and feels a lot more responsive once you start putting some speed into it, and then you feel the plate even more. These shoes have a really nice toe off. The roll from that midfoot to the toe off feels great. It's nice and poppy. You get a nice spring from the shoe there, so I'm enjoying that. However, I got some tired legs today. I don't think I'm going to be able to get up to my full tempo paces today. I did a really long ride on the Peloton on Monday. I did another speed session on Tuesday, and I did another like 9 miles on the bike yesterday. So a high volume week for me right now. So probably not good to be doing another speed session right now, but that's what my training plan said to do. Although 2 days ago it said to do an easy run, and I'm like, I want to do a speed session because I haven't done one in a while. So we'll see how these perform the rest of the run. Asics Magic Speed 2. As I mentioned before, they made a lot of changes to this shoe from the first version. One of the big ones is putting that Flight Foam Blast Plus in the midfoot. This goes from here to the back here, and then we have a firmer kind of carrier foam on the bottom. But this does help to give you a little bit more squish and bounce than the previous model had. There's also a carbon composite plate in here, so it's giving you a nice toe off and roll from this kind of rocker geometry that brings you to that plate with a nice spring for the toe off. The design of the shoe really reminds me a lot of the original Asics Metaspeed Sky. If you look at these side by side, the profiles are very similar. They have the same laces. They have kind of the same heel collar. And the grip looks very similar on the bottom as well. Similarly shaped, but one of the big differences you can see with the Metaspeed Sky here, on the back the foam is really tearing. This is the Flight Foam Turbo Foam, which is their highest end racing foam, but it's not as durable as the foam that they put in this one on the bottom. This is much firmer on the bottom. I think it's going to be much more durable. The application of rubber on the bottom is also a little bit thicker than it is on this shoe, but very good grip on both of these shoes. They increased the stack height a little bit in the heel on this one from version 1, but this shoe, even though it has a bigger stack, is actually about an ounce lighter than this one is. This is about 8.5 ounces. This is about 9.5 ounces in my size. However, this is actually a 12.5, and this one's a 12. There's a little bit more width in the toe box of the Magic Speed than there is in the Metaspeed Sky, so I was able to pull off a 12 in this one, where I had to go to a 12.5 in this one because it kind of comes to a point a little bit more. I needed a little bit more room in that toe box there. This shoe has a really breathable, comfortable upper, and I think it's one of the best looking running shoes that I have. I really like this kind of ombre colorway here with the Asics logo going through there. I think this is the Ecodin colorway is what they're calling it, but it's just a good looking shoe on top of being a fast and snappy shoe. Now, how does this compare to other shoes in this category? First of all, bravo to Asics for having a shoe with the plate in it for $150 that could legitimately be a race shoe for a lot of people. It's a fast shoe, it's a light shoe, you get nice propulsion from that rocker and from the plate in this shoe. However, the Flight Foam Blast in this shoe does not feel anything like it does in a Nova Blast. I did have the first version of Nova Blast. I haven't had the 2 or the 3, but this is some of the bounciest foam. This shoe really has a very bouncy ride. I like the ride of the shoe, however, this one is firmly in the daily trainer category. It's much heavier. I think this shoe is like 11 ounces or something like that. You have a lot more rubber on the outsole here. So this one's really designed for those easy runs. You can pick up the pace a little bit because it has that bouncy foam, but this is not a shoe that I would use for racing. This one I feel like really shines at those tempo paces, those faster paces, and would definitely be a good choice for a 5K or a 10K. As I mentioned before though, this shoe does get a little bit narrower in the midfoot. You can see the upper kind of hanging over a little bit there, and in the heel. So I was experiencing some overpronation with this shoe. So if you're a heavier runner or you tend to overpronate, I think this one could cause some difficulty for you unless you're running fast and up on your toes, which is where that problem didn't really present itself for me. But the second run that I did in these was over 8 miles in the shoe. I was mixing in some slower paces as well as some intervals in there where I was running fast, and afterwards my ankles actually were a little bit sore from wearing this shoe, from having that instability in the heel. Now here's the bad news with the Magic Speed 2. It reminds me a lot of the other shoes that I have behind me here, but I like them all better. So this is the Puma DV8 Elite version 1. This shoe is the lightest of all these shoes here. It's just over 8 ounces in my size, which is very light for this size. This also has a foam that's a little bit firmer, a little bit squishy, has the full carbon plate in there, also very good grip, a little bit more coverage than the Asics shoe has, and this one just feels lighter and a little bit snappier. I like the rocker in the Asics shoe, but again, if I was going to go for a race, I think I would choose this one over the Asics. This one, if anyone's watched any of my other videos, this is the Speed 1. This is still my favorite shoe ever. It's just so good. This one has over 200 miles on it, but this Saucony Power Run PB foam is much more responsive than the foam that's in the Asics shoe. So I'm getting much more bounce and roll. This shoe just feels so good. It's so easy to go fast in. It's easier on my legs over a longer period of time as well. There's more width in the heel, so it has more stability. Also very good traction on this shoe. And then we have the Takumi Sen 8 from Adidas, which is kind of the king of this category to me. This one comes in at only 8.25 ounces. So this has the Light Strike Pro for the whole midsole. It has the plastic rods in here, not the carbon rods, the Continental rubber, so also very good grip. This one's also pretty narrow in the heel and the midfoot, but I don't feel the pronation issues in this shoe that I do with that one. It might be because this stack height is a little bit lower to the ground, so I don't experience that. This is another really tight fitting upper. I love running fast in this shoe. This is one of my favorite tempo shoes. I have to actually take these out for a 5K race because I haven't done that yet. So probably a 5K race I have upcoming. I really want to try the Takumi Sen and see how these perform for me in 5K. Something else that I'm probably going to do soon is I really want to compare these two shoes. I want to run in them back to back and see how they feel, see how they differ. This one obviously has the full carbon plate. It's stiffer. It has their more high-end foam. It's also a little bit lighter, even though it's got a higher stack. This one, though, I feel the rocker in it. It doesn't feel as harsh as this shoe does, so it'd be interesting to run in them side by side and see how they compare. So that'll probably be a video that I do soon. So I'm going to continue to run in this shoe. I'll see how my feelings change over time, or if they stay pretty much the same, and give an update on that. Buy it weight or second rate with this shoe. I would say this is definitely a weight. To get a shoe with the carbon plate at this weight for $150 is a good price, but I think there's better shoes out there in that category at that price point, so I wouldn't buy this new at full price. Right now, Running Warehouse has them for about $74 if that sale is still ongoing and you can find it in your size. So at 50% off, this is a great tempo shoe that you can also use for racing, but there's a lot of crowding in that area. There's a lot of really good shoes in that 150 to 170 price point, some with plates, some without plates, with all different types of foam in there. So this is a strong offering, but I don't think it's the best at any one thing. The grip's very good. I think the durability is going to be very good. It's lightweight. I like the rocker in it, but there's a lot of other shoes I think I would choose over this one if I was trying to do my fastest tempo effort or run a race. And then obviously if I'm just doing daily miles, there's shoes that do that better as well. So this kind of does everything a little bit well, but I also have shoes that do everything a little bit better. So for $74, I'm not hating on it. That's they're getting a lot of shoe for that price, but there are better options out there, I think, as well. That's all I have for today. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.